Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining us for EKU football's first press conference of the 2025 season. We're joined, as always, by head football coach Walt Wells, and later we will be joined by defensive lineman Jeremiah Bailey and quarterback Miles Burkett. Coach, we'll start with you, just your opening thoughts on the opponent this week in Louisville, and then we'll open the floor to questions. Anyone who has questions in the chat, just shoot a message in the chat or use the raise hand function. We'll make sure we get those questions answered for you. Coach, take it away.
All right, Brian and Greg, welcome. Glad you're here. I don't know who we play this week. Can't remember, but no. All joking aside, know who we play. Obviously, University of Louisville. What a great program and a great team that Jeff Brom has over there. Coach Brom's done an outstanding job. Known him for quite a while and known what kind of offensive coach he was when he was an assistant. And now as a head coach at Western Purdue and Louisville, he's done a great job as overall program builder and championship builder, and we know what to expect from them when we get there, which is going to be a tough, hard-nosed team that wants to make explosive plays both offensively and defensively. And so it's going to be a great challenge for our young men. But we've had a great training camp. I'm really proud of what these guys have gone through and how they've handled it, and looking forward to watching them compete against somebody other than themselves on Saturday. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions. Again, thanks for everybody being here.
Okay, Brian Milam, I'll let you lead us off.
When you go into a situation like this where you have, and you've done it 1,000 times, what's the message you give to the kids to not be so jacked up that they lose assignment, they over pursue all of the small things that can happen when you are just too amped up?
Well, I think that's something that you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you watch college football this weekend, you see all the mistakes. I mean, a lot of them are in special teams. A lot of them were mishandled punts, mishandled kickoffs, not covering the kick great. Then you've got free runners in coverage, and then free runners on sacks. Where you're just making mental mistakes. And I've talked to our coaches about making sure we do a great job with our schematics and our players being comfortable with what we've been working on. We started working on Louisville last week, and then we get back at it again today. And so if they understand what they're doing, and then they have to go out and perform that way. And Brian, they can't. You're not going to change who you are just because you walk into Cardinal Stadium. That ain't going to happen, or L&N Stadium, whatever they call it. You have to go in there and play each play like a life of its own, and own that play. And if you have great success, that's good. If you have not great success, then you got to flush it, snap and clear, as we say, and move on to the next play. Because if you don't, that's when you start just giving up them big explosives after explosives after explosives. And that's hard for young people to do, to understand that the moment's not bigger than the moment and just play. But we've been drilling that in our head. We do have an inexperienced football team, some. So, we're trying to make sure that they totally understand what that means.
All right, now Cameron Drummond, Lexington Herald leader.
Hey there, Walt. Appreciate the time as always. Two questions from me. The first one, kind of more of a procedural thing, but now just that fall camp's in the rearview mirror. How did you guys come out of all that health-wise? Is there anyone who you're expecting to have a significant role who won't be able to go on Saturday? And just thoughts on you guys' kind of depth and injury situation now that the season's here?
Yeah, we don't have to give that information out, Cameron, so we're not going to. But we are. I feel like we're healthy. We have a couple guys that are dinged up that probably won't play in the game. But overall health has been good, and I think that's a credit to Billy Brown, our strength and conditioning coach, and Carson Kipp, and then obviously Tanner Pearson, our new trainer. They've done a good job of getting them back out there. We've only got one guy that's probably out for the season, and that was a true freshman. So not that doesn't, not that it makes it any less it's significant. It just means that he was a true freshman that probably we don't know if he would have been. He got hurt early on. So that's right now is where we're at. So I like where we're at with our health. We will have a couple guys that probably be a game day decision. So we'll find that out.
And secondly, just obviously you guys made the call to go with Miles last week. I think you put that out as a starting QB. Obviously he did a ton to impress you in the offseason to win that job over Jordan and some of your other guys that you had in that room. So just what did he show you to elevate him to be able to name the starter, with a week plus before the season? And what are you hoping to see with him in his first game as a Colonel on Saturday?
I think the biggest thing is his experience, the way he handled the team, the way he handled the meeting rooms, the way he handled all the things that he was involved in. Probably a little unfair for Jordan Potts coming in June and trying to learn our whole offense, which Miles had a leg up on, and then Kobe Lambert did a great job, and so it was a battle there for a little bit, but Miles just kept being consistent overall, protecting the football, getting us in and out of checks that we need to get in and out of. And I look at it as as a over the time, who's going to be the guy that continues to improve. And Miles they all kept improving, but Miles kept improving the most. And so we felt like he was the guy to go with. We wanted to go ahead and get it out there instead of waiting until this week or maybe Thursday or Friday or whatever, Saturday, surprising everybody. We felt like for our team, we needed to get that groove going with our receivers, with our tight ends, with our offensive line, making checks and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's helped us out. I think you also look at the fact that our captains are player voted, every one of them. And Miles being one of those that was player voted, I think that speaks volumes for a guy that came in January and basically won our team over.
All right, now Alexis Cubitt from the Louisville Courier-Journal.
Hey, Walt, I guess you talked in your opening statement about just Jeff Brom and knowing him for a while. Obviously, he has a pass-heavy offense, but with Isaac Brown and the year he had last year as a running back, how much do you guys game plan for that? And what's kind of the strategy defensively in terms of maybe scouting?
Well, I think the biggest thing about Jeff is when it comes to offense is everybody thinks he's a pass-heavy guy, and his stats a lot of times show that, but he gets a lot of explosives out of his pass off play action and RPOs. And I mean, he wants to run the football. I mean, he knows what it takes to be a winning team and a championship team. And you got to play great defense and you got to be balanced on offense, but you got to run the football. And those two backs are explosive. I mean, you see it time and time again on film. They pick them up, put them down really fast. And as you watch the film, you see when people get out of their gaps, they take advantage of it. It's not like it's they miss cuts or they miss reads. So that's a credit to, Coach Barclay, who's coaching them in the running game too. And I think all those things come into play when you're looking at their offense. And you got to make a team. You try to make a team one dimensional is what you try to do. And so, but with Jeff's offense, it's hard to do that because the throw game's just as deadly as the run game. And so we're going to have to tackle well in space because they're going to get on level two, and we're going to have to game tackle, and we're going to have to meet those guys as much as we can and game tackle them. And it reminds me a lot of 2 years ago when we played Barryon Brown, and said we shouldn't punt to them, and we did the one time, and it cost us. So we got to somehow force them guys to go north south or go east west more than north south.
All right. Any more questions from you, Alexis?
No, that's it. Thank you.
All right. Then we'll go to Michael Watkins of WBON. Michael.
Coach, when you get ready to start the season, there are some guys that, I think Kylan Robinson comes to mind, a guy that's worked really hard for you over the years. Last year, suffered an injury right before the first game. So as you're getting ready to play Louisville, guys like him, how excited are you to finally see him be able to chance to get a play?
Well, I'm grateful for all those guys because football is something that's important to all those young men, and it's really important to Colin. I mean, he's a good young man. He's got his undergraduate degree, and he's working on his graduate degree, and so he's had some unfortunate luck here. And for a lot of people, they would move on, and he has chosen to stay, and I respect that. And and I appreciate that. And when he gets his opportunity on Saturday, I know he's going to go in there and make the most of it.
And then one more, when you talk about Louisville, what do you want to see from your team coming out of this game as you kind of progress throughout the season?
Well, I just want to see us play with the toughness and both mentally and physically, that allows you to compete and have a chance to win the game. And that's what you want every week you go into it. You don't want mental mistakes. You don't want, like I said, fielding errors. You don't want penalties, costly penalties. You don't want, stupid things to happen that takes you out of the game. And so I want to see us go in there and play clean. And those are the hard things to do. But in game one, I don't care if you're playing Louisville or you're playing, whoever, you want to do that each and every week, because that's what's important to you as a coach is to give the young men that are going out there to play an opportunity to win the game. And if they eliminate those mistakes and do what it takes to mentally stay in the game, then I think they have a chance. I mean, obviously we want to win the game. I mean, we're not going there just to get our check. We want to win the game, but we want to win every game we play, whether it's Louisville, Tarleton State, Austin Peay. I mean, it doesn't matter who we're playing. We want to play them and we want to win. That's the expectation around here.
All right, going back to Brian Milam.
Last year when you went to Western, the defense kind of held early and put yourself in a position to hold serve early. And I know that's important, but to put yourself in a position in the second half, you got to have some turnovers out of your defense. And your defense seems to be, at least in the preseason, we talked maybe the strength of the ball club.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, if you can hold them, make them have long drives, obviously, don't let them score. You got a chance to win. I say that every week, tongue in cheek. I mean, if they don't score, they don't win. But in the same breath, you've got to do some things to provide your team opportunities. I think that comes in special teams. I think that comes in defense, Brian. If you get turnovers, now you've changed the field, or you stop the drive that is going into your red zone. You stop them in your red zone if you get a turnover there. Same thing on special teams. If you create a turnover, create a block kick, create different things, and you've got opportunities to give yourself an offensive stolen possession. And those are vital, especially for us. We're going to be a little inexperienced on offense, and so we're going to have to rely on our defense early on. And I don't think that's any pressure for them. I think that's expectation, and we'll see how they hold up and how they do. But it's a team sport. It's a team game, and one's got to serve the other. Same breath, we can't put our defense in bad situations with turnovers on offense, with 3 and outs, with different things like that. So we have to come in with the mentality of protecting the football and doing what we need to do to rattle the chains of it.
All right, anything else from you, Brian? All right, thank you. We're now going to go to Austin Miller of the Eastern Progress. Austin?
Hey, Coach Wells. So I have a couple questions. I'll ask this one first. So last year, it was a devastating loss on the road at Villanova to end the season. Has the team used that to fuel the desire to make it further this year, or what's gone into that?
Well, I think, our goals every year are to, go undefeated at home, win a conference championship, which automatically puts you into playoffs, obviously, and then win a national championship. And I think those goals are set a long time ago, and we just continue the expectation that we have here. But yes, there was a lot of heartbreak in that locker room. I look back to 2 years, or I guess it was 2 years prior to that, when we went to the playoffs and had a home game. And I don't know if the heartbreak was as much when we lost to Gardner-Webb as it was when we lost to Villanova. And I think that speaks volumes about the culture that we're building and have built. And I think that starts with our assistant coaches, and that starts with our weight room with Coach Brown. And it starts with, our players and the expectations and accepting the expectations. I mean, you play the game to win. You play the game for championships. You play the game for those moments. And everybody's like, oh, you get a ring. Well, I've got a crack ton of rings, and they sit in a box somewhere. I mean, that's not the important part. The memories, the bond that you build with each other, the expectation that you have of each other, is what's important, and getting to share that for the rest of your life. And I think they understood that, because that heartbreak stuck with them. I mean, Peyton Collins came and saw us. Peyton's with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And he came and saw us during his open week a couple of weeks ago. And that's all he talked about. It's like, Coach, you got to get that win. You got to get that playoff win. We should have had that. I mean, it's just, and that let me know like that means something to this team. And even though Peyton's not on this team, that influence is still there, and he's speaking for them, I think. I'm sorry, what was your other question?
Oh, no worries. Thank you for that, Coach. Lastly, I've got what can fans expect to see from this year's team stylistically, maybe compared to the past few seasons, or if there's any major changes at all?
Well, we've been fortunate. We've had our same offense, defense, and special teams coordinator for the 6th year now that I've been here. And continuity is a great thing. We always try to tweak to who we have. I think we'll learn that more and more as each game goes by, Austin. I think part of that is, we are who we are. We are built the way we're going to be built, and that's how we've recruited to. But in the same breath, there's tweaks that'll be made as we see how these guys perform on game day and go through it. But the thing I hope you see when you come here is a team that loves playing, for EKU, that loves each other, that is going to play extremely tough and extremely hard nosed, that wants to play physical, that wants to, bite when they need to bite, and that strain when they need to strain, and that play the game the way that it's supposed to be played. And if I get those things out of them, the results will come. We preach all the time, don't look at the scoreboard, just play each play as a life of its own. Be the best version of yourself. I hope that's what we see.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, Austin. We'll now go to Keith Farmer.
Coach, I saw Stottlemyre on here. He tweeted out yesterday about Coach Kidd intercepting Johnny Unitas and Greg.
He's got all the one-time hitters there.
Right. I know Coach Brom also talked about, just the history of EKU. Got me thinking about like the history of the two programs, if you could talk about that. And then I'm sorry if I missed it. You're talk about how well you know Coach Brom.
I got to know Coach Brom back. Obviously knew who he was as a player and saw him play. I'm a little older than Jeff, but got to know about him and watch him playing and different things when he was at Louisville. Then when we were at Western, we had the opportunity to talk to him about potentially becoming a staff member. And he had just taken the job, though, at FAU for Coach Snellenberger, and wanted to go coach for his old coach. And so we understood that. And then when he decided to come back and work for Coach Petrino, he called me and we talked a long time about Bowling Green and Western Kentucky and the football program there, the athletics program, the support there, all the different things. And we talked for a long time, and then just from then on, it's been one or two things here and there that we always just see each other or talk to each other about. And he's always been really good to me, and I appreciate that. And I've tried to be good to him. And so, there's their special teams coordinator, Carl Maslowski, played at Western when I was an assistant there. Ryan Wallace, I helped recruit 3 different times to Western and finally got him the third time. And of course, his dad was a longtime coach at Bowling Green High there. So, and now at St. X. And so Ryan, I know well. And so, have some ties to that staff. I mean, when you've been in state as long as I've been in, you get to know pretty much everybody sooner or later, by either being at combines or games or whatever, recruiting against each other or with each other. And so, but Jeff's a good football coach, a good person, first and foremost, a really good person. And I think that goes to his success. But and then what was the other question, Keith? I'm sorry.
Just about the tradition of the
Oh
program.
yeah, with Coach Kidd. Coach Kidd, both as a player and a coach, won this game, so he's put the pressure on me. And so it obviously for EKU to play Louisville, play Kentucky, play Western, even Murray and Moorhead, when we play those games, anytime there's an in-state football game, I think it's huge. I think it's huge for the state of Kentucky. I think it's huge for the high school coaches. I think they can point out to their players, hey, look how many guys are on these teams from the state of Kentucky. You're playing football for that opportunity. You're playing for your high school, but you're also playing, for hopefully an opportunity to get to play at the next level and get your education paid for. And so I think that's a big deal. And I appreciate Louisville. I appreciate Kentucky when they play us, Western when they played us. I think it's a great opportunity for us to showcase our program against the in-state. And, we've got guys that that are from Louisville. We got guys that are from the state that, this is a big deal for. And, but like I tell them, it's no bigger than playing Houston Christian next week, guys. They all count as one. That's all they count as. They count as one win, they count as one loss, but they count as one. And you just got to remember that and go in and increase your value and create your value by how you play.
All right. Any last questions for Coach? Anyone? All right. Not seeing.
Hey, before we get off here, Brian, when you leaving? Oh, you're on mute, man.
Boy, he's gonna have to learn
Sorry,
that.
I got it. I pulled a farmer. Or I pulled a Cutler. September 5th is my last day.
So I only got one. Oh, so I'm glad the home opener for EKU football. You'll be on the.
See, I can actually come to games and not wear that color.
That's right. You can wear the maroon finally, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's that Moorhead blue. Sorry.
Oh, that's
yeah,
true. We'll get you a couple of pieces of gear. But hey, I can't. I know next week's your last week. I didn't know this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it this week, man. All you've done for us, all you've done for football and sports in the area, man. We can't say thank you enough. You do a great job. You're going to be dearly missed, but I know you're going to a great place and going to help out high school sports immensely. And so we applaud you for that. And you're welcome here anytime. So appreciate you, man.
Oh, it's only 25 minutes down the road. I'll be there quite often.
Come on. You're more than welcome. We'll even get you a sideline pass.
I got to go through Isaac Ray to get that.
Brian, you always have a credential with us.
You got it, man. Thank you.
I do see Jordan Adams.
Have a good night.
Hold on, Coach. Jordan Adams from Fox has one more question for you. Jordan,
okay.
get this in real quick.
Sorry, Coach. Obviously, Louisville run with Miller Moss. He spent a bunch of years at USC. Talk about kind of the difficulty of scouting a guy who's never played in Coach Brom's offense before.
Well, I think what you do is you take what he did at USC and compare it to what Louisville does, and try to see what type of arm angle, what type of throwing he's got, what type of pocket presence, all those type of things. If there's any kind of run element in there, you can try to figure all that out from the USC and then compare to what Louisville does. But also, it may be something that, hey, man, he did well at USC. We really didn't do a lot of that, so we're going to bring that to the table. So the first game's a lot of unknowns. It's just a lot of unknowns, and with a new quarterback, you're trying to research it all. Just like I'm sure, we've got every game that he played at USC. I'm sure they got every game Miles played at Wisconsin and Albany, and so they're looking at every piece of that, trying to dissect him. And we're doing the same thing with Miller. But he's obviously had some great games. Very accurate thrower. Probably not as physically big as the kid they had last year, but very talented. Very talented.
All right. Anything else, Jordan?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right. Well, with that, we'll let you go, Coach. Coach, thank you as always for your time. And now we'll welcome in Jeremiah Bailey on our defensive line. Jeremiah, if you can unmute yourself and turn your camera on.
Can you see me?
Yes, sir. We got you. All right. We'll start with Milam first, and then we will everybody else just queue up in the chat, please. Thank you.
Going into this ball game, how do you kind of reel in the emotions and I asked this of Coach Wells, to not get so hyped up and amped up to the point you cannot function individually or as a team?
Well, I'll start individually first. I feel like, so I've been here 4 years, so we've pretty much played a big game to start the season off every year since I've been here, and I played in a few of those as well. And so I feel like that inexperience of getting all emotional and everything, and then you're all burnt out for the game. I've already I had those already, so I feel like that's now it's just for me is being more locked in. So like letting the team know like how everything has to go about with these type of games. Like we have to be fundamentally sound, locked in to our keys and assignments if we really want to win this game. And I feel like we've been stressing that this week. Coach Wells has also been stressing that this week. Play with emotion, not emotional, so that way we can go out there and perform at our best.
Brian, do you have any other questions? Nope. All right, then we'll go to Austin Miller of the Eastern Progress. Austin.
Hey Jeremiah, I've got a couple for you. So first of all, seeing as though you're one of the defensive leaders on the team, how has it felt kind of transforming from a redshirt reserve in 2022 to a defensive savant, and now you're one of the true key pieces on the team?
It's kind of been crazy. I talk about this all the time with Ryan Jackson, who's now on staff with us. And I was actually just talking to him about it the other day, and he was like, "It's kind of crazy how fast everything happens." And I was just like, "Yeah, like sometimes it don't seem real because it comes at you fast. You know what I'm saying? Because you just growing up." But I feel like I've always been humble about anything that happens in my life because I know there's always more in store. So. I mean, just growing into a leader, just being the person I am, getting to know my teammates, staying level headed, and just keeping the main thing the main thing.
All right, awesome. Thank you, man. I've got one more here. So the team defense has taken major strides of improvement in recent years. I can remember a couple of years ago, the defense it seemed to consistently bite the team down the stretch of close games.
Right.
And now I think it's reliable and it holds its own really when it matters. What do you think could be attributed to that?
Uh, I say more of like what we've been implementing in the spring and with our new transfers is making sure we're not just out there playing for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more at stake, getting to know your teammates, getting to know who you're playing for, getting to know who's next to you, understanding who's around you, how they think, how they react to certain things. So everything we do is not for us eternally, it's for the man to the left and our right. And so it kind of makes us play a little harder for each other because you don't want to let that man down at the end of the day. And I feel like just in general, like not a knock on any of the guys I was before, but just I feel like the level of focus and like the level of stepping on the field should mean something every time we out there has raised a lot tremendously since the past few years.
All right, we'll now go to Jordan Adams.
Louisville has some talented running backs, including Isaac Brown. How important is it going to be to stop the run in this game?
Very important. I mean, it's just like any other game. Every offense wants to get their run game going, and it's up to us to stop it and make them one dimensional. So I feel like we played a lot of good speedy backs in the past. Like in our conference. So I feel like gang tackling and everybody pursuing to the ball is going to be key just as much as it is any running back we play because if you don't tackle well, anybody can go for 200 a game.
All right, anything else from you, Jordan?
That's it for me.
Okay, then we'll go to Michael Watkins of WBOM. Michael.
Jeremiah, you talked about Ryan being a part of the coaching staff now. You yourself now stepping up as more of a leader. So talk about your responsibilities. Obviously, what you have on the field, but maybe what you're doing to kind of help some of these guys that haven't played in a game like this before, kind of prepare for this matchup.
Film study. I mean, like I was, like I said, like growing up in the career path right now. Like coming into these games, I wouldn't say prepared, but I'd be more like how I said earlier, like playing emotional. You know what I mean? Not falling back on my technique or falling back on the film study and everything that we've watched before. So now it's like stressing to the people in the position room right now, like how Coach said, we're immature teams. So like doing little things like sending out messages of what I see on film or like little tendencies that they have that we talk about with the coaches, what I'm saying, making sure I'm stressing those to us so that way when we get in these situations and whether we're tired, we're up or down, everything starts flying fast for them, like they can rely back on what we was taught through the week.
All right, and then Jeremiah, I have one for you from Victoria Arlen, the ACC Network sideline reporter. Her question for you is, how has this time, or teams last year's mindset different from this year? What changes have you seen, if anything, or is it more of, just simply elevating what you guys did on the field before?
I'm gonna go back to kind of like what Coach said about what Peyton said when he came this fall camp and seeing practice and everything. Like just that feeling of what I'm saying, it got taken from you short last year. Like it was a lot left out there on the field, and we came up short. And it's just that we see where we can go as a defense and as a team, and we knew that we was right there at it And I feel like, especially defensively, we got a lot of guys back that was on that team last year. And so I feel like that burn inside is kind of, it's a burning flame because obviously we're not, sitting on what happened last year, but it's still kind of in the back of our minds like, okay, like we still got to rewrite these wrongs that happened last year.
All right, thank you. Anybody else with any other questions for Jeremiah? All right. Not seeing any. So Jeremiah, thank you so much for your time. We'll now welcome in quarterback Miles Burkett. Miles, if you can turn on your camera and unmute yourself.
You guys got me?
Yes, sir. We got you. All right. We'll start with Milam again if you want to start us off, or if anybody wants to queue up, and then we'll start the questions for Miles. Austin, I know you said you had some. Austin, if you want to start us off.
Sure, if Milam's doesn't have any.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Uh, hey Miles, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. So I've got a couple questions for you. So last year you were at Albany and at Wisconsin before that. What has the process of transferring from Albany to Eastern been like?
Yeah, it's been great. I tell everyone I don't think my process would be like this if I told you 4 or 5 years ago that I'd be at three schools, but it's the way it went, and I'm extremely blessed to be here. I think ever since I stepped foot on campus, I've been welcomed with open arms. It's been home, and I've had the opportunity to be around a lot of really great people.
All right, I've got one more for you. So it wasn't an easy road at Albany per se last season, but what have you done to improve your own game from last year?
Yeah, I think the one thing I did is I took my preparation level up a notch. I think that's the one thing that nobody really sees because it's done behind the scenes. But my preparation level, especially this week, I've been in the QB room for hours, this week and last week getting ready for this game. I think it's invaluable to be able to go out there and play free, to be able to look to your teammates and tell them exactly what they're going to see, or at least an idea. And then, me being prepared gives everybody else confidence to be prepared for this game as well.
All right. Then we'll go
Thank
over to
you.
Michael Watkins.
Miles, as a quarterback, you've always got a favorite weapon. You look at every, quarterback, wide receiver duel. He's always got somebody they like throwing to. In your time here, have you already found your guy like that you've got that special connection with?
Yeah, obviously Marcus Cowwise. Extremely talented young player, but he's very wise beyond his years. Guys that are younger at this level, you see a lot of the silly mistakes in terms of not seeing coverage, not being able to work release against certain leverages. But he's a guy who ever since I got here, we've had a great relationship. First off, and then secondly, he wants to win and win bad, and that's something that I align with myself. So. He's kind of my safety blanket out there. He's earned that right from his production from last season and into this season as well. But we got countless other weapons on this team: Jaden West, Daquan Stanley, Jacob Dixon, Cameron Herget. Like we got plenty of guys on this team who are gonna make some noise.
When you talk about your relationship with the quarterback room in general, you look at the depth chart and things like that. The running back room is really deep. The wide receivers, you talked about the different guys you could throw it to. But inside of your room, what has those conversations been like as you all prepare to face Louisville? And how have you all been able to kind of help each other navigate this process?
Yeah, this is the first time in my career I've been, kind of the elder statesman of the room. Last year I had a guy who was older than me, and obviously at Wisconsin I was usually the younger guy. But this year I've kind of taken on that, not a, I wouldn't say like a mentor, kind of a mentor, but kind of giving those guys some tips. I gave the guys homework this week, and they kind of weren't they weren't expecting that, but I gave them some homework just to make sure we're locked in watching film. But yeah, I'm just taking some of those younger guys under my wing, showing them the ropes a little bit. But the conversation has been great. This room is extremely close. I think we all want to see each other succeed, which that can get lost in translation in some of the QB rooms around the country, especially with the transfer portal and all this stuff. But there's a mutual respect amongst the guys, and I'm just ready to go with them.
All right. Thank you. Cameron Drummond, you're up.
Hey there, Miles. Appreciate the time. Just one question from me. You mentioned just a second ago in your response being kind of the elder statesman of the room for maybe the first time now, and just the way that your journey's played out, going from a young backup at Wisconsin to being the guy at Albany last year. What are the most translatable things that you're taking from each of those two experiences in the ways that you've prepared for this season, and hopefully that this season will play out for you at EKU?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd say, how to handle the ups and downs of a season. We make we make this game so difficult in terms of the smoke and mirrors. We talk about, the size of the crowd, the magnitude of a game. You're going to have adversity in games like this, but how do you handle that? And how do you, have that infectious energy with your teammates in terms of keeping your teammates together? I think that's one thing that, as an offense, specifically in this camp and in the offseason, and since I've been here, we've done a really good job of, yeah, when we see adversity, we might struggle a little bit, but guess what? We're going to stick together and we'll figure out a way. And I think that that's a good thing where you talk about good teams will find a way to win, but great teams will make a way to win. And I think that's the things that we're doing.
All right. Keith Farmer.
You like literally touched on what I was exactly going to ask you about. Just you're going to face those kind of adversities game in, game out, and how you can handle maybe that ahead of time, or just what you see in your guys through camp that gives you the faith they're going to handle those ups and downs.
Yeah, I think that it all goes back to, the voices that you're hearing. I think that, if we have quality leadership on the offensive side of the ball, and it comes from each position room. And when you have a guy in each position room who can, kind of, if I have a message I want to display to the entire offense, having guys who can kind of connect the dots and know how to connect to each guy in their own room. Because maybe I don't know how to connect to this guy, but he does, and then being able to translate that message in a way that best fits them. I think that's something that we've done a great job of in terms of reflecting the message to every single guy in the offense, not just, the people who you think will be out there on Saturday or the people you think you might most need to hear it, but making sure that everyone hears the same message, even if it's in a different way.
All right. And then, one last question, Miles. This one again comes from Victoria Arlen from the ACC Network. When it comes to leadership, what or who inspires your leadership skills and your styles? And what are you trying to do as a leader for this team this season?
Yeah, in terms of inspiration of leadership, I think I kind of, I've read books. I've had great coaches. I've been around great leaders. So I kind of pick and choose from each of those guys or those people that have infected me in my past. But my way of leadership is pretty simple. I think first you have to earn the respect of the people you want to lead. I think that's an underrated uh, thing that it goes about leadership is I think everyone just wants to be the guy and they want to be rah rah. You want to make yourself heard, but you really got to love and serve your teammates. I think I had that's something that I didn't do well in my last stops, but when I came here, I said, you know what, I'm gonna love and serve my teammates because they deserve it. And it's my time to now serve my teammates instead of just trying to be a rah rah guy. But in terms of leadership, I think making sure people know you care about them. I think it's invaluable to have a team that will play for you instead of just a team that will just listen to what you will say. Because if a team listen, a lot of guys will listen to what you say, but they maybe not won't play for you. But having a group that will play for you, that's invaluable. So I'm not going to say I'm the leadership, savant, but I've had some great leaders and I've read some good things, and I pick from that.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else with any final questions for Miles before we close off? All right. Not seeing any. Miles, thank you so much for your time. Media members, thank you so much for your time as well. We look forward to seeing you down the road. Thank you and have a good day.